friends and foes, and welcome to my channel. I'm very excited about today's video because I feel like it's a good little mix of something that's like a little fun for you and a little responsible for me. I felt like a bit discouraged when I wanted to start making YouTube videos and posting about books because it's something that like I've always loved and wanted to share with people. But so much of what I was seeing on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram were these people with like massive bookshelves and so many books, and we're like doing hauls every single week. And I was just like really taken aback because that's just not attainable for me or my situation, and I don't believe it's attainable for a lot of people who love to read out there. And in the end, I really had to put aside a lot of that insecurity to start making videos and start posting about books, because in the end I knew that like it was something I really wanted to do myself. In the end though, a lot of people who are huge readers and engage with book talk or booktube, bookstagram, any sort of book content, probably feeling similar to how I was feeling. And it's kind of like a taboo topic to like discuss buying books and like what that entails. Like you see all these people who have massive bookshelves and who have like a ton of followers for it, but you don't necessarily see like what they're getting paid in sponsorships, or if publishers are sending them a bunch of books, or like even some people I know who have subscribers who send them books every once in a while, which like there's no issue with obviously, but it can make it seem like if you don't have the disposable income to buy a bunch of books all the time, that you can't really be an avid reader because you're not getting books often enough to like read new things, which is just so completely false and wrong, because reading is for everybody. And it doesn't matter if you have like a massive library room in your house dedicated to all of your books, or if you just have like one book on your nightstand, like you're a reader, and you don't want people thinking that that's like how the real world works. You see a lot of content about book hauls, and you see a lot of content about book buying bans, but you don't really see anything aside from that. There's no talking about how much things cost, if you got them on a discount, how much it costs to ship, if you live in different countries, what the price difference might be for a book there. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to give you a little haul of all of the books that I have bought this year so far. From January 1st up until now. It is the end of May, so almost halfway through the year, and give you a rundown of every single book I bought and how much it cost. And it's not to brag, but it's to like start destigmatizing like this idea of having the perfect shelf and investing a lot in buying a bunch of books and buying a specific cover or whatnot. For a little bit of context, I am doing a minor in English literature, so there are some books here that I did buy for class. I also just read a lot because it's my main hobby that I do in my free time. I think I've read like 22 books so far this year, so that gives you a rough idea of how much I read. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the haul. So, starting from the beginning of the year, the first books that I got were Harrow the Ninth and Nona the Ninth. I finished Gideon the Ninth when I was on vacation and immediately was like, I need to finish this. I need to know what happens. If you did not know that these sit on my favorite shelf, then now you do. So fantastic, but was truly hilarious and also a little bit making me want to cry in the middle of the bookstore when I rolled up thinking that it was a trilogy and that I was going to know the end of the story, and then bought the two of them and opened it up to see that it no longer said the Locked Tomb trilogy, but the Locked Tomb series, and that I was not actually gonna find out how it ended after all. These were my first two purchases of the year because I really just needed to keep going with them and see what happened. And I'm very glad that that's what I did, because They are so fantastic. I love these books so much. For both of these and for a lot of the things that I mentioned, I am a member of Plum Plus, so I get 10% off of all of the purchases that I get from Indigo, and free shipping if I have to ship them. So I guess that's like context to be added. Harold the Ninth cost me $26.99, and Note of the Ninth cost me $38.99. Why are hardcovers so expensive? Where is the love for the hardcover girlies out there? But yeah, I tend to buy more paperbacks unless it's something that I really want, because it's just not sustainable and affordable to keep on buying hardcovers at full price in this economy. Next, I came back from vacation and started class. I had to get Pinocchio and Alice in Wonderland and my textbook, which was this classic fairy tales book. So these were all like mandatory purchases. This Alice in Wonderland copy I got from Indigo. So I did get my 10% discount on this, but it cost $9.99. For Pinocchio, I got it from the bookstore at school, so I didn't get any discount, and it is $10.99. And same with the textbook, I got for, it doesn't say on here. Come on. I will include the price here. This next one I am not proud of, but when I was at the thrift store one day, I saw this copy of Attachments, which I have not read yet, and I have never read. That was redundant. But I used to love the book Fangirl and Carry On, and so when I saw this on the shelf, I immediately was like, yes, I'm buying that for my inner middle schooler. Is it kind of embarrassing? Maybe, but I'm also kind of embarrassing sometimes, so it's fine. At this point, I was trying to really cut back on my spending on books because it was one of my New Year's resolutions was to be more mindful of the books that I was purchasing. I felt a little bit bad about this one because I knew that it wasn't something that like I wanted to read right now, but it only cost me $4.99. So $5 is $5. That's all I'm saying. This is where things got a little downhill, because it had been a while since I bought any books, but I got a gift card and was trying to figure out how to spend it in a way that I thought would be the most satisfying for buying with a gift card. And there were a few things that I really wanted to get, but I was trying to decide like what I wanted when. I was trying to decide what I wanted to get, but I had a few options going, and then like one of them was a duology, and I couldn't find a bookstore that had both of them in at the same time and whatnot. There were a couple of releases around that same time that I was also interested in but couldn't necessarily locate. But when I was doing my little browse through Indigo one day, I found Project Not by Chelsea Peretti. I did just happen to stumble upon it in store, and I was like, okay, yes, I'm buying that like right now. As well as A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. I was like, I'll get the second one, and then I just have to get the first one. Allison Pages. I love her YouTube videos, and it's like one of her favorite book series, and like she just raves about it. So I was like, I have to read that because it sounds exactly up my alley. But pun intended. This was $21.99 and $28.99. I used $10 off from a gift card, and again, this was Indigo, so I got 10%. We will be back to our regularly scheduled programming soon. Let me have a little chai latte break. Okay, we're back. I waited and I waited and I waited. And if you are not from Canada, you probably did not know that this happened, but Indigo is like the only major bookstore in Canada. Earlier this year, they had a major cybersecurity issue that shut down all of their e-commerce. Gradually, after a few weeks, they like set up a system through like Shop Pay where you could order online. But finally, after a while, their online store opened again. But it was after like solidly a month or like 6 weeks. It was a very long time that this was going on. So once they got everything sorted and you were able to online shop as normal, they offered a sale. And so I was like, perfect timing, because I still have $10 from that gift card and I'm gonna get 25% off, so I'm gonna get to pick a couple of little things that I want to buy for myself. And so these are what I picked. First priority, first level of business, first order of business. I had to get a Some for Wild built. Can we just take a moment though to appreciate these covers, because they are some of my favorites, like ever. I love them so much. I have them displayed like that on my favorite shelf most of the time because I just love looking at them. Spoiler alert, they're on my favorite shelf. And then I decided to pick up Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. I was really in a mood for like that cozy fantasy and I really loved it, and I'm glad that I picked it up in that moment. The last thing I picked up is On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. I didn't expect that it would be this big, but it came and I was pleasantly surprised. Those were my 3 picks. A Some for the Wild built cost me $28.99. Legends and Lattes cost me $23.99. And On a Sunbeam cost me $28.99. But I did get 10% off of all of them. I used a $10 gift card on the purchase and got 25% off on top of that. So
you're such a smart shopper.
It was a good buy. I was going through the thrift store, as I do, and found The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I have never read, and then also The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I don't actually have the tags on these anymore, but I'm pretty sure it was $4.99 for The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and either $4.99 or $3.99 for The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. The semester's over. I'm kicking back and relaxing, trying to reset from the burnout. Went on a little trip, was having a good time, and was super excited for the release of Happy Place by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry. I'm not a huge romance reader, but Emily Henry hits every single time. I don't know what she does. I don't know how she does it, and was super happy to pick it up when it finally came out. It had that Emily Henry flavor. It just had her name written all over it. This one ended up being my 3rd favorite of hers overall. I knew it would be near impossible to top Book Lovers, so I wasn't like hoping that it was gonna be above and beyond everything, but it absolutely was what I was hoping for. Had a great time, and it came at like the perfect time in my life, so I was very happy about that. It is listed at $37 even, but it was going for $25 because she was Indigo's Author of the Month. So I spent $25 on it and got 10% off. I went home for a little bit and haunted all of my favorite thrift stores and had a couple of really good finds. I picked up a couple of books while I was there because I found some that I was really excited about. First, I got Nimona by Andy Stevenson. Very excited to read this one. I haven't done it yet, but was happy to find this. And then I also found The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, which has been on my radar forever. Well, not forever. I don't even remember when it was published, but it could not have been that long. And then lastly, I found The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which I think is gonna be so up my alley. I'm very excited that I found this one, and in hardcover too, because I don't know if I've ever actually seen a hardcover version of this one. Had a great day at the thrift. We slayed. It cost me, I think Nimona cost me $3.99, and then The Starless Sea was $5.99, and The Vanishing Half was $4.99. While I was home, I also went to Walmart because I was gonna make a joke about me always spending time at Walmart, but I realized that that would not hit on the internet because you guys don't know me personally. I went because I had some errands to run, and I always kind of skim past the book section, mostly because I'm just curious at what they're carrying from time to time, but I don't typically buy a lot of books from Walmart. But I was taking a little gander down the aisle, and I saw that they had a bunch of different copies of the Heartstopper books, and I already had volumes 1 and 2, but they had volume 3, and all of them were for 25% off of the cover price. So I was like immediately sold. So I picked up volume 3 of Heartstopper, and I wanted to pick up volume 4, but they didn't have any. So I'm still waiting on that one and still waiting on finding it on a good deal. So we shall see. The cover price of this one was $19.99, but I did get it for 25% off. I came back and I'm starting my summer class, which I had to pick up a couple of things for. There were only 2 things that we actually had to buy for the class, but then in my browsing, I found a couple of things that I felt like it was a nice little treat for me to pick up in the moment. Could not really justify it beyond that, but I don't regret it, so I picked up a couple of things. I picked up IRL by Tommy Pico, which was one of the required readings for class. Totally recommend. The other thing I had to pick up for class is Waiting for Godot, which I have not read yet. Okay. I don't have the best track record with reading plays, so I'm a little bit scared, but I believe in myself. I did get this from Indigo, so I got my 10% as well. Always coming through. And the free shipping, because I did have to ship these. Then, in my fun little findings, I decided to pick up Crush by Richard Seikin. I spend a lot of my time on Tumblr. And have never actually read the whole collection of poems, but love and adore what I have read from him. And I did get it from Indigo, so I did get my 10%. Did I really need to buy it? No. Did I want to buy it? Yes. Do I regret my decision? Nope. And then the last thing I picked up is Serious Concerns by Wendy Cope. Love the poem The Orange, as does everybody. It's iconic. And Allison Pages, once again, had picked this one up and said that it was really good, and so I was excited, and I found it on Amazon when I was looking for IRL, and I got this copy. It was listed for like $2 or something, but with shipping it ended up being like $9, so it was kind of a steal. So no regrets on that one. IRL, I don't know the exact price off of the top of my head because it's not listed on the back here, but it was like $19.50 or something. And Serious Concerns ended up coming out to like $9. And then from Indigo, I got Crush, which was like $22, I believe. And Waiting for Godot was like $20.50. But both of these, I did get my 10%. That's all the books that I've bought this year so far. And the grand total comes out to definitely, like, looking at it in front of me, the amount of books I bought and how many of them I've actually read at this point is healthy, in my opinion. I don't want to operate on a guilt system, and I know that that doesn't work for everybody, but to each their own. Disposable income that you can spend on your hobbies like reading is personal and varies, and you shouldn't always compare yourself to others. Comparing myself to myself, I'm happy with the purchases that I made this year. I've bought a lot more books secondhand than I typically do, and to be honest, that's really what I wanted for myself this year. For you, I hope that this gives you maybe a bit of an idea of what goes on behind the scenes as somebody who makes videos and posts about books. If this is unattainable for you, like, that's not an issue. If this is a completely ridiculously small amount of books in comparison to what you spend in a year, that's also not necessarily an issue. This is just trying to have some transparency on the internet in how we talk about spending and reading and this kind of hobby that seems like focused on having like a full bookshelf and like a super aestheticized image of it rather than like actually getting down to the nitty-gritty of it. Is that like we all love stories and we all love sharing in stories with each other. Hopefully you had fun watching this, you enjoyed the haul, maybe you did get something out of the actual like bare bones financial of it. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, rest of your day, rest of your night, and I will see you next time.